and Education Committee. I will accept the motion on the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Health Department.
Hi, Dana.
Welcome, Ms. Garrett.
I got a few things to go over with you today. First is my June report, since we didn't meet last month. And so, as you'll see, these are all our clinical encounters fall under the improve. The promote is things we're doing out in the community, and then the protect are things like inspections and vaccines that we're doing. In June, we hadn't started to see the back to school, even though we had lots of clinics and stuff. We usually start to see that spike in July and August, going up there. Should I do the July as well?
Yeah,
or-
let's go
okay.
ahead and move on.
And the July report, you can see that the immunizations did spike up quite a bit. We always see that in well child exams for kids preparing to go back to school. We also see a lot of birth certificates during the summer. Again, a document needed for school a lot of times. So we'll see those numbers go up.
Oops, I'm sorry, Carol, go ahead.
You got voter registration, you've registered a lot of them.
Yes, we do a lot of voter registration. If the person is there for a federal program, we're actually mandated to offer that, but we offer it to everyone who comes in. But there's certain trigger visits that you come that we have to offer voter registration for you. So.
One quick question, and you might have touched on it months ago. With the community events that you have, I know that there's several listed. Are they also listed on the county page or anywhere that citizens could go look to know where they might be closer to them instead of finding out somewhere else?
I've been working with IT here at the
Okay.
county to kind of update our web page. It's really just a page now, and it's got like my contact information and a few little things. So what we are going to have when we get this done with them is like a up-to-date calendar where people can access. That's one of the things I wanted to see. It'll be on the front page because we do all kinds of classes and different things like that. So that's one of those new technology things.
Yeah, I
They're
think there might
helping me.
be some value there just to use the
Absolutely.
technology we've got to make them more aware. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Ms. Garrett, on the reports?
Motion to approve both months' report.
Second.
That's good. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so a few things that I need to get your approval on to send on to the budget committee next. So the first one, I just went whatever she had loaded first on the iPad where it says grant attachment, this one, the first one.
Amendment 1.
Yeah, Amendment 1 grant. So this is the completely reimbursable contract that we have with the state when every month the county sends in and the state reimburses them. They needed to update it. If you'll remember, I brought the original budget to you without the raises. So now it needs to have the raises that were approved by you guys put onto the new contract. And they also added a health education position. We had approved that amendment, both here in the budget and the mayor had signed it, but the state rejected it because it was too far past June 30th, which is a new rule that we've never encountered. So I'm back again to put that back in this budget. There is one step we're waiting on for the state. They will issue a grant amendment number to this, and they're still in the process of doing that. So probably we will have it by the time it gets to budget, the grant number. But I wanted y'all to see that, see what I was going to be taking to them in the budget committee.
Any questions on this, Ms. Garrett? Again, this is 100% reimbursable.
Yes,
by the
that's
state,
right.
No matching funds.
That's exactly right.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move its approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is just information. This is not money. Do we need to do a roll call on this?
It's not a budget transfer, it's a contract per se, so
Okay.
you're fine.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay, I lost my agenda somewhere. Let's see. Where'd it go?
That's under here.
There we go,
There
okay.
you go. And
So
then
how
just
do I get back?
hold it and go back to main menu.
There you go.
And then back and then.
Okay, I wanted to know what I had loaded
Yeah.
for you next. Okay, so we got some funds from the state again. You remember last month, we talked about rolling over the funds that weren't spent for year one, tobacco settlement dollars that we got. So we rolled that in and approved that money to continue our year one project. Now we've gotten year two funds, which is $93,301 that we're going to contract, 2 different contracts with MTSUs. They're kind of the experts in these programs. One of them is called Smart Moms, which helps pregnant moms stop smoking. And the other is called Gold Sneaker, and this is where you help daycares become smoke-free and teach them about healthy nutrition. And so we've got some goals to reach at least 25 daycares and get them Gold Sneaker certified. And then we hoping to get several hundred moms that will commit to stop smoking. In year one, we got 68 moms who quit smoking with the program. It's estimated that smoking moms have a very much higher rate of low birth weight babies. Low birth weight babies have complicated deliveries that are costly. So even if you just look at the cost, if nothing else, the baby having to be in the hospital, it's estimated it's about $84,000 for one low birth weight baby. So we had those 68 moms who didn't produce low birth weight babies through going through that year one program. So it's very much been a success, and we're going to continue to expand it. Year two will actually teach the techniques to private docs in the community who take care of pregnant women. So this will be continuing education that the doctors can get for free as part of this program. And what the program teaches is how the doctor will talk to the patient regarding her smoking. There really are some proven techniques that if the doctor says it and does certain things, then you have much better success. And we were kind of, the first year project was the health department. So all our doctors, all our nurses, nurse practitioners, and nutrition education staff went through the training. And that's where those first numbers came from our WIC clients. So we're going to continue that one. And so I need to take the budget amendment to roll in the new money that we got. And I also need to take those 2 contracts that I want to do with MTSU.
I may have misunderstood, but at the start you said to work on making daycare a smoke-free environment.
Yeah, there's 2 projects. So,
It's illegal to smoke in a restaurant.
right.
Is it not illegal to smoke in a daycare? I mean,
It's,
I would have hoped that would have not have been an issue at all.
Right.
Who smokes in or around a daycare? I mean, and I would hope if that's not against law, that'd be something we ought to ask our legislators to. But if you can't smoke in Waffle House, you definitely don't need to be smoking in a daycare. So, I mean,
Yes.
that's just.
and there's also secondhand smoke that we worry about with that. And there's new research that shows there's a concern called third-hand smoke. And this is actually after a worker goes outside and she smokes and she comes back in and she cuddles a baby, that they're actually getting a lot of those chemicals and problems from the clothing and things that she wore. So that's really the important target there, is to make sure they're not necessarily smoking in the daycare, but they may be smoking around the daycare or outside the daycare and then coming back in. So the first part of Gold Sneaker is to offer an hour of activity for the kids, certain nutritional requirements, and then also to have a smoke-free campus. That's going to be an important part of the process. And we actually have 5 local daycares that are already Gold Sneaker certified, and there's lots that will qualify. They just don't know about the program. And you get the daycare gets lots of benefits from that too. They get some free toys for the kids and some nutritional guidance tools as well.
If the mother has gone outside and smoked, if she comes back in and puts on a smock,
Mm-hmm.
does that help?
Yes, there's actually, that's a technique that has been used and called smocking that you can do. But of course the best
It's
would
not
be
to
that,
do it.
right, exactly. But that is a technique that can occur, that parents and people who work with children have used.
that could be a great marketing tool for daycares that are certified.
Absolutely.
Because if I had a child, I would want to make sure they were going to a child that was that age, would make sure they were going to one that that wasn't an issue.
That's exactly right. And they have already heard we're doing this program. We haven't officially started yet, but the word is spread. And they're like, I really want to do this. And because part of our plan is to actually advertise for them. Advertise in the newspaper. Here are some Gold Sneaker daycares. You know, they have met these requirements and those kinds of things. So
Tuesday, Thursday schools, would they come under?
I don't know, what are those like?
Like a Mother's Day out.
Oh, like Mother's Day out. They could qualify for it. We're targeting the daycares right now, but definitely they could apply.
Like
And it's
churches.
free to apply. And you come to a training, and we're going to offer the training at large daycares, and then we'll offer it on site here and in Smyrna, those kinds of things, so that the daycare workers can come. They need a certain amount of CEUs or continuing education units. They can use the training that we do as part of that. So it's really beneficial for them all the way around, and then hopefully we get healthier children and less tobacco use going on.
Yeah, the Gold Sneaker program, that's designed for those, because there is a silver sneaker program,
That's
which is
exactly
designed
right.
for our senior
Seniors.
centers.
That's exactly right.
That is very highly sought after by senior centers
Yes.
to accommodate that. It's somewhat the same way, so it's a major program all the way around. So if you can get that classification, it's really good. So I know
Right.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly same concept. I think that's probably where it was
Right.
designed.
Right.
And the state's had the program for a while, but now we're really going to get the word out and let people know it's not that difficult to achieve this, and it will be beneficial for everybody all the way around.
Let's take the budget amendment first, and we'll do the roll call vote on it, and then we'll vote on the contracts. I'll accept the motion on the amendment.
Motion to approve the budget amendment.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes?
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye. And we'll just take both contracts together because they're the same program.
Okay.
So I'll accept a motion on those.
So moved.
Second. About 8 of us there.
All right, all in favor?
Uh,
Thank you, Ms. Garrett.
Thank you, guys.
So anything else for us?
No, that's it. That was a lot to me to remember.
Do these contracts go to budget?
These are new contracts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, send them on the budget.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. All right. Ms. Carroll, did you have
Under
anything?
the consent agenda, right?
Looks
Commissioner
like
Jordan?
consent agenda item to me.
All right, Carol, do you have anything you want to share with us on community care? I think I skipped that.
It's doing well. Hired some new employees, and we're.
Well, I would be, I should report that they've had a survey within the last couple of months or so. A difficult survey. Nursing homes get reviewed supposedly every 15 to 18 months, and sometimes they're not fun. But anyway, they've had some difficulties. They're working through these, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that they've experienced some things that we have to make some adjustments out there to come into full compliance. Which we've done that already, but still we have to suffer the pain of trying to actually get all this officially approved and signed off on by Medicare and the state of Tennessee.
Is it staffing or programs or structural or?
It's how you deal with restraints. You know, no one's supposed to be in a restraint. We had a few too many with restraints
Gotcha.
that have to be adjusted and accommodated.
Just keeping up with the times.
Yep.
Sometimes the rules aren't necessarily
And they
common
don't,
sense or whatever. I mean,
Okay.
there are.
And this is one of those times that, I mean,
and they don't have a definition on short time either. They don't know
Right.
what is a short time. They can't give you what short time is,
Gotcha.
so.
All right. Can we get a motion to accept the
So
community care
moved.
report?
Second.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Ms. Jolly? Special projects.
Okay, on page 5, I've set up the new project for the EESI, the energy efficiency thing. And that includes, I just did it as capital improvements, but the schools involved are like Blackman High, Laverne High, Oakland, Riverdale, Rock Springs Middle, Stewart's Creek Middle, and Smyrna High. And right now, we're just, you can see on page 7 where we're underfunded for that, but we're just using funds that are available right now to cover that. That's about it.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Jolly?
Motion to approve the report?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, school board. Mr. Odo, Mr. Sandvik, welcome. Are things starting to slow down for y'all yet? Just a crazy.
It really is, so.
No.
Jeff said no.
Guess I stand corrected.
Not in my office.
The first thing I think is that you'll have to have we have a motion on is the cafeteria cash. And this is routine since they have to deal with some cash in the cafeterias. There's a cafeteria petty cash fund. The cash on hand accounts for centralized school cafeteria fund 143, totals $11,850, whereas the amounts have remained unchanged since the 2013-14 school year. Therefore, be it resolved that the cash on hand accounts for the centralized school cafeteria fund 143 remain at $11,850 level until a new school is opened or a need to rises to change the amount. So the motion our board approved was to approve the attached list of cafeteria petty cash funds, cash on hand account for centralized school cafeteria fund 143, which totals $11,850.
If anyone wants to see that breakout,
And
that second attachment is
It's
there.
on it's a breakdown by school.
That's unchanged from previously.
It is.
And that's why we're asking just for ongoing approval until we make a change, because it's other than, generally, it takes adding a school.
Alright, I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Alright, roll call.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
The second thing we wanted to do are reports. I got some
Yeah.
reports for you if you'd like, and kind of on the back of the one where you see the account list on our sheet. But you'll find the computers that were placed. You got Steve Solomon's?
I didn't think to hand that one out, I'm sorry.
I did want to do some reporting to you monthly because, of course, the commission appropriated $3 million for the computers, and he's making me a report first of every month. This is basically the one that he did through July. After the funding, started, we did have the appropriation. So this is one he sent me on really August the 3rd. And so it's listed by school. We had teacher computers that wouldn't run the new 10 ready assessments. They wouldn't run those either. So you can kind of see the schools that were listed there, 41 of those. Student computer space, 1353, some laptops, and then additional teacher computers. It's going to be much higher than that for next month because more of the ones we've ordered are coming in. There's an interesting happening associated with that, though. We did notify Dell when we came to you back when we were working on the budget that if this goes through, because they were the vendor that had the bid, this is what we'll order. Can you fill them? Yes, we can do that, fine. So he starts ordering and they fall behind in the order. So you'll love this, Mr. Nipper. So what they have done is they have given him a bigger unit with the screen at the same price. When you're a big customer, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And then he said, you throw him in the house. They sent him over paper to unpack the computers from the boxes and carry the cardboard out. So they all kind of pitched in to do it. So that's a good thing. So I'll continue to give you reports each month, and we'll see how that goes. Our goal was to try to get most all of them in by this fall, because the students need to practice some. Really, before the assessment, if you remember, was in February. So it comes early, so that's very important for us to do that.
I'm just curious, one school looks like perhaps the Laverne Middle got laptops. Is there something unique about that?
In some cases where we didn't have another lab space or something like that, we'll do some mobile laptops or something like that. And if you recall, one of the issues we had with instead of putting all laptops in is because of testing, we often go morning and afternoon, and the charge time and the number of chargers and electricity is really tough for us, and to get them recharged. That we're trying first to create a primary lab that's plug in, and then use some supplemental with the laptop. So the next item was kind of an update, because project update 8/25/15 for you. Of course, the Eagleville School Phase 1, and it opened on time for this year, and there's still some punch list items that would be done, but if you, Mr. Reed was there. He has one famous quote from that one, that he said that when he was making, it's the first time he'd seen his name on the wall and the plaque of who the commissioners and all are, that he didn't put his name on the wall. So
It's not too late.
Yeah, but I didn't have to write it or cut it on the wall.
Well, I'd thought about that, and this is not anything. I remember when I first came on the commission, for finishing up Siegel High School, and they put the name of the commissioners who had voted to build the school, and not the current commissioner. So there were 7 or 8 that were already gone, but they had voted to build a school, and I was told that was standard policy. But now, going forward, that has not been standard policy. So I'm just telling you, there is a discrepancy out there somewhere.
oh my.
So, doesn't make any difference at all to me, but I just thought that was funny, because I remember the conversation from 2002, 13 years ago.
So then should the names only apply for the ones who actually voted to fund it too?
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Your name doesn't go on there if you didn't vote
They
for
got
it.
a red list over there, the ones who voted no.
Probably would not be wise. I would not
Right.
recommend doing that.
That's all kinds of problems. And that was a great celebration, by the way. I have
It
to tell
was.
you, it was really spectacular for that community. They had terrific turnout. Just the parents, you could just, they came through for what they asked for, and we came through on our part, and they sure came through on theirs.
It's really, they have waiting lists of people wanting to get in. People really like that environment with that K through 12 and a little smaller school. They got their children in one place, and it's just, it's very attractive.
Tell the story quickly just about the chorus teacher, about what all she's been through. Do you know that one? Where she had been through so many different classrooms and mobile and et cetera.
On top of the gym.
Oh, yeah, she was in the gym
She
in
was
the
there like
deck
nine-
up there.
How
if
many
you
years had she
remember.
been there? It was a long time.
Oh,
like
it was.
16
It
or
was.
something?
So she did chorus while they bounced basketballs and
Right.
did gym on the floor. They did that. But she just really had tears in her eyes.
Yeah, this
You
is
know,
her
when she
first
talked
time to
about it,
have
she
a
loved
true
it.
dedicated room, and it's a spectacular room.
She said it was hard for her to unpack for crying.
Right,
She spent
right.
all her time crying and putting it
Yeah.
in there.
It's great.
The next school is John Coleman, and we did have the bid opening and all for that. The board hasn't approved that yet. They will next week, I think. That's gotta be
That
of
one
the-
has been approved. I
Oh,
signed
the
the
John
purchase order
Coleman.
today.
Okay, all right, the John Coleman has, I guess, other than the
That
Royal
one's
Walt,
next.
the Rocky Fork hearing, right. R.J. Anderson, that's been sent to them. Our issue that we have right now with John Coleman is, it is in the 500-year floodplain. When they redrew it in 2010, after the 2010, part of the property is in that floodplain. So we're awaiting the final sign off from the Corps of Engineers. I was with Joe Phillips, who was the principal there today at an event, and he was saying, when they had that in 2010, he said it came up to the fence out there and was through that whole park area and all, but didn't come up really in the area. And it really, where the building is situated, doesn't hit all of that 500-year floodplain. It's mostly where parking lot and all would be, but still, there's a technicality there, which means we're probably not going to get in it by August. Now, the nice thing about this in that is, I think when it goes through all the signatures and it's approved, since it's not something involving rezoning, but moving students who are really on site. So if it's November 1st next year or October the 1st, the transition should still work very, very well for us. But unanticipated till we really got down. Actually, one of the fellows doing the plans for the site preparation all really uncovered that, hey, this is now in that 500-year floodplain. And a whole lot of Rutherford County is. I don't know whether you've ever looked at that. If you want to really find something interesting, go to the Corps of Engineers or FEMA and look at where you may be in a 500-year floodplain. It's amazing.
And they
How
update
much
that
they
every
did.
10 years or something like that. And they make wholesale changes.
They do.
And they pull people out of the floodplain, and they put people in the floodplain, and that's a big deal, because unless you're paid for your house, like very few people have, if you've got a mortgage, you've got a flood insurance.
So, yeah.
You know, and there are people out in my district when they changed that, because my district's all around the lake, and they're like, hey, I've been in my house 15 years, and all of a sudden I get notice I've got to buy flood insurance. A lot of unhappy people.
This property has more to do with, we've had to do some design changes to move the water flowing towards the lake. That much of where it sits is high enough, but it's still in that area. They consider that this is a flow path or pattern. So Mr. Clardy has been involved in that, and so you got some, when you build it, you know, we'll be doing some site work to flow the water in the path that has to go still to get to the lake. You cannot block that, obviously. So that's the issue there. I'm surprised too. The Roy Waldron edition, Barron Construction is a different contractor for us. We feel very confident with them, though. Has been given the notice to proceed, and contracts have been mailed to them for their signature. Pre-construction meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August 26th, which is tomorrow, 10 a.m. at Roy Waldron to get the work underway. So we're about ready to start with Roy Waldron with that two-story addition there. Several of you visited last year when we did the tour, but that one should be going. Open today. The bids were open today for the Rocky Fork site clearing. And again, the board will act on the approval for accepting that. Mr. Clardy felt it was much better as part of the site preparation, which you already funded the site preparation and some pads for that, that to really get the best design, we need to do the clearings first, then come back and then do the pad construction, get the trees and that other area out of the way. So was it 348 or 384?
390.
He was something
Something
like,
around.
I was thinking he told me like 384, somewhere is the clearing part. And dealing with it. He was relatively pleased with it, but the topographical survey will then be done once we get
It's a very
cleared.
dense area, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
it is, because of the trees and the rocks and it slopes some too, so that's kind of where we are on the project. Any other questions about any of the projects I think we really have going right at this moment? And the other one that I want to do is share with you some enrollment numbers from yesterday, and this is on the spreadsheet that I handed you. We did print where you can get all on one side, although some of it's a little small. But it's a breakdown by grade, by school, so you can see the enrollment that we have. As of yesterday, we were up 1,105 students over the end of last year. Over the same day last year, it's still over 1,000, somewhere in that particular range. So not the largest we've had. Once upon a time, back about 1,800, about 2005 or 6 or something like that. But certainly much more than last year when it was around a little over 400, if you remember. So we're kind of returning to that, and I think you may have approved a development off of Amarillo Road for 500 homes last Thursday's commission meeting. Out that way, so we're
Out there on 840 Apple Road. Yeah.
it is. It's out near Independence Hill.
Yes,
I understand the plans for that may be 1,500 sometime.
There's a lot of land around.
It is. It is.
Of course, it'll take them a long time to
It
build
will.
that out.
It will. But anyway, it doesn't look like Mayor, the estimates we were getting earlier may seem to be materializing now. Some of
Well,
those
last
with
year
the
was an
growth.
anomaly with
It-
Overall Creek opening.
I think so.
And the city going to giving free meals for breakfast to all the students, so, yeah, because 2 years ago, we were in that 1,000 range, were we not, so.
They were up, I was with her today, and she gave it to, we were at a United Way function, which Governor Haslam's wife spoke at too here at Embassy Suites, and they're running about 360 or so in their growth, so you can put the two of us together, and you can see for the public schools in Rutherford County, you're looking at 1,400 or so growth with city and county together, what you're talking about. I guess just point out, and you can look at this in your own time, you see some differences and changes, and always some negative, some added. But I think the thing that really caught my attention, I highlighted in the little yellow highlight, the high schools. Look at the high school growth. There are little bubbles go through as certain age groups, and when they hit an area, they're hitting the high school. In fact, if you will look down at the column at the bottom, the little blue bar at the bottom, if you look at the 9th grade, our largest grade is entering high school at 4,091. That's the largest grade that we have. And I think there's a number of things. I think it's that bubble. We are seeing more students that have been in private return to us for high school. You have great career and technical education programs. You have nice science labs now. You have opportunities and offerings and things there that I think is very attractive to people. So I think that's another reason that you see high school
Approximately,
numbers.
how many seniors did we have to graduate?
We graduate some early. Last year I'm thinking it was somewhere around 3,031 or something like that. I would have to look that up exactly. We'll have a number that will graduate early. Holloway graduates, they'll have a number that'll finish in December. They do the 4x4 block, which you can earn up to 8 credits per year. Typically kids are a little behind. Now that we're offering online credits, we had a number of students that graduated this summer in summer school, but they will not count because the state tracks them in a 4-year cohort, and so they'll not be reported because their graduation year is not till next year at the end of 16, so they will come out on our percentages in 16.
I was just thinking about the number of seniors that graduated and the number of kindergartens that come in, because that would be pushing the seniors, really.
Well, you have the city in their count.
Okay.
I'll tell you something that kind of interesting to me that I take a look at. Look down at the bottom of your 5th grade column. At the bottom, you'll see 2804. Look at your 6th grade and you'll see 3279. Now that's not the same group of students, realize, but it's fairly close if you look across there. Mm-hmm. We receive probably 35 to 40% of the students in the city choose to go ahead and go on to one of our middle school in 6th grade. If you look at the 7th grade number, you have another bump of about 500 more, and of course the 6th grade stops in the city at the end of the 6th grade. So that's the remaining student. That was about another 500. So they're running a little over 8,000 now, in their district, which would be their kindergarten through 6th grade, 7th grade. So they're running, close to 1,200 per grade. So you can kind of see that in the numbers here.
I'm noticing a lot of the primaries and elementaries are down. 53 students, 27 students, 55 students. But if my math is correct, we've got 1,008 more high school students, adding up all the ones that are highlighted. That's
it's amazing.
That's
And we had a lot last year.
hard to balance. I mean, why are there less? I mean,
Yeah.
those lower numbers. I don't know why Whitworth Buchanan would be down. A middle school.
All right.
I mean, knowing
I can explain some of that to you. Look at Christiana Middle.
we moved.
There was some moving in there in the zoning that kind of held some students for a year. One reason you're seeing Stewart's Creek High go up so much is because of the grandfathering that allowed the students to remain.
Is this the last year?
It's over this
It's
year.
over now.
See, they're up over 300,
Yeah.
if you'll notice there. But interestingly enough, if you look at Laverne and Smyrna, again, you see them growing over 100 here. Even despite the fact that all the grandfathering expired, they graduated and left, they still grew
There's
Yeah.
probably some Blackman kids in that same school also. Blackman's up 155.
It is.
Yeah.
It's still a growing area for us, the Veterans Parkway area.
This is one of the
and that sort of
stranger
stuff.
set of numbers I can never remember because they're not all just growing. It's just it's
Shane,
so concentrated.
Shane Morgan, our planner, sometimes does some projections for us, and they produce. Rutherford County breaks the mold in that because of our movement in, but there's some national numbers that you can plot out, Mr. Jordan, where it'll show based on births and years across the country that you'll have certain years they'll project that this will be your highest high school years in the next 10 years or highest elementary or whatever they are. But with our people moving in, it really, that model doesn't fit us particularly well. If you were fairly stable, that model, you could probably join some of that projection, but ours is so different in that. But it's just, it is interesting to look at. It's just one of those things that you go home and sit and look at. Of course, your alternative schools, since you're counting against the end of the year, in that particular case, they always drop a large number there. That would be Smyrna West and Daniel McKee. They return back to their zone school in that particular case. But
Does the Holloway, does it grow this much every fall? Is there some-
no, in fact, this is one of the higher numbers. They'll graduate some by Christmas and they'll pick up some more. We kind of just affectionately call it our second chance high school because we've gone some online. We have online, we have night classes at Holloway, we have summer school this summer doing that. At one time, if you go back about 8 or 10 years, you were starting the year at Holloway at about 170. It would be somewhere in that range, but in recent years it's less because we're doing, I think, a better job of not letting kids get behind in credits. They need to go to Holloway to try to catch up and graduate with their peers. The whole graduation rate is based upon the 4-year cohort. When they enter freshman year, the clock starts ticking. They have to be out in 4 years and 1 summer. And that's not a true number because you have some ELL students, English language learners. You have some special ed students that take 5 years to graduate. That's perfectly okay, but they don't count. They count against you in calculating your graduation percentage. We haven't gotten the final count from the state for this last year because all summer school has to be taken into it. They take everybody that's dropped on you the last 4 years and everybody that's enrolled, and then you'll get a percentage. My guess is it'll be somewhere around the 93% or something like that would be my guess, somewhere 92 to 93. We're off a few tenths sometimes, somewhere in that range. So most kids are really finishing high school now because they've got so many opportunities. In fact, some of those that we gets counted against us simply moved off and we cannot locate them. And they count as a dropout because they didn't enroll in another public Tennessee school where they'd be seen or another public school where we received a records request that we could track them. So the state doesn't accept those, they count them as dropouts.
If they go to 3 or 4 states away, do they usually contact here?
Typically,
wanting the records?
most will, unless they're trying to lose their pass for some reason. And one of our most difficult ones are those that might be returning to Mexico or something like that. They're some of the hardest to track sometimes. And we talk to neighbors and friends and relatives and every way we can to try to track a student. Our desire is for them to finish.
How's it working out with I know you had a lot of new hires on teachers, and these are some pretty big numbers, especially some of the high schools. How's it working out in terms of classroom assignment, or do you have a lot of teachers without classrooms? Or?
But we'll do a count a little bit later for you, for ourselves and for you too, which we call teachers on a cart and that sort of thing. And I know in some instances, in elementary and some other areas, there tends to be art, music. High schools will tend to rotate through based upon the period, but yes, you're going to have quite a few teachers still on a cart. I think we had about 50 new teachers in the new budget. Was it 40 or 50? 50 is 50. We have not used all 50 of those at this particular point, but we based on numbers Again, we'll look and see if it changes, so there may be a few that we don't initially assign. The pool of teachers is down. Very difficult to find people in mathematics. A lot of those people that used to graduate in math now are actuaries at some insurance company. They had other options and choices, so we have trouble hiring math. You have trouble sometimes in some foreign language. And your sciences, we actually pay a signing bonus for some positions, which many districts through the state do if it's a hard to fill position. We pay that to try. It's very, very competitive, and we still lose some people to other places sometimes. But we're more fortunate than many of those Upper Cumberland and smaller counties that do not have a university anywhere near them or that sort of thing. They really struggle to find people.
When you do your exit interviews, have you begun to track at all who we're losing and why, or what we're losing them to?
We do an exit interview. It's because of the age of many of ours, a lot of your turnover in a year are maternity leaves, spouse transferred. I think Ms. Barnes told me her total processing of teachers, with some that left, retirements, all of that is over 300. Total processing the numbers. So.
But that number that we're trying to find is.
But when
who
we
are we
start
losing?
talking about up to
Yeah.
40 new ones, but
Right.
that's all of those because
Right.
all of the transfer, it's very fluid.
Yeah. I just know that we're trying to capture and keep
You're
the
right.
ones that we're losing to
You're right.
competition. And so I'm wondering what that number is. And did the raises make a difference? Did the changes we make with insurance, did that make a difference? I'm just curious to know what
I
the
think it
ripple
did till
effect
Williamson
is.
County came out with 5%. We lost another or two. We actually lost a couple to city, Murfreesboro too, a little bit. But, that's gonna happen some.
Right.
I just tell you, that's going to happen some.
And it'll always happen.
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
I'm
You just don't want to get too far away from it. You just really have got to be in there.
I just wanna make sure that.
Wilson and Williamson, but we might get them from Wilson or Williamson or Cannon or
Cannon.
Bedford or somewhere, it goes both ways.
It does.
I just want to make sure that we're following that ripple effect of those decisions so that we know when the next time it comes up, what the
I don't,
impact is.
we do not detect a lot of just plain dissatisfaction. Again, much of it is family life, especially with your ladies, in that, and a spouse or something getting transferred or having to go back. I saw several, because I signed them all, that my parent lives in X state, they're older and they're sick, I've got to go back.
Right.
And all of those things that as life happens that you see, and so, but I'm not seeing them leave by being disgruntled.
Okay.
And we did have some, like I
Right.
said, for salaries early on.
Mr. Odom, you had also shared before we started that we're getting close to 5,000 employees inside Board of Education, correct?
And that's part-time
Moving that
too.
direction, yeah.
And I don't know exactly, Jeff may have an estimate, your custodial staff, and your food service staff, because you gotta have those extra people around the lunch serving time and all like that. We hire a lot of part-time people, and that is really heavy turnover. For us. And when the economy gets better, then there are more opportunities out there. There's lots and lots of transfers there. So of that count, that's not full-time, in that, but it's a lot of people we're processing through the payroll, that you're writing the checks from here in the courthouse for.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but tell me how many employees we had. I do know we lost an employee last week, 30-year employee at the maintenance department.
Started with us at 19.
Yeah.
Tim Graham.
Tim Graham. I went to school with Tim, friend of his, and passed a heart attack last week.
Oh,
He's
wow.
51 years old, and I just want to keep that family in our prayers.
We'll do a moment of silence when we do our board meeting. He did start with us at 19. He went to Lascassas, grew up there. His mom and dad still live on Kingsville Pike in Lascassas. He was our locksmith man, and they're not. I started saying not many better. I don't know any better much. And, because we have a lot of locks. You know, think about it, you know, how many doors, because the fire marshal, you have to let them out, you know. So when we had an issue with the lock, it didn't work, and it's like he was the one that did the tumblers and that sort of thing in the work, so he will be missed, you know, without a doubt.
All right, any questions for Mr. Odom, Mr. Sandy?
Thanks for the update.
Yes, sir.
I'll accept the motion to approve the report.
So moved.
All in favor?
Uh,
Very good. Is there anything you want to hear from them next time? I had discussed with Jeff a little bit about what I thought you might want to hear, but is there anything that we didn't cover that you might want to hear next time? Just a good update?
We'll give you another enrollment, and we'll give you another, we do not see big changes at Labor Day like we accustomed to once upon a time, because we start so much earlier, and Metro and everybody else is going to school, so the word gets out, and so.
What is the date that where the state takes their official snapshot? Isn't there like a date early on in the school year?
It's 3 months. The third month is one we use a lot. Tell them the dates.
Yeah, we use the third month
Okay.
a lot. That tends to be maybe not our maximum, but a more stable period.
Okay.
And often it is our maximum, but if we're in a year with a lot of growth, it won't be.
Okay.
But that's the month that we use. As far as calculating growth and all that, there's a weighted average of the 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 7th months.
Okay.
And that's why the growth calculation is so late in the year.
Gotcha.
We were on the cusp.
We
But
did
we
not
didn't
get
get any.
We did not get growth.
But we were
rates.
on the cusp.
We did not get any growth
Yeah.
rates, which we estimated to receive
Yeah.
some. We did not receive.
Hmm.
But we'll get it this year,
Yeah.
being over 2%.
Right.
But they keep cutting the pool.
Yes, the pool has been cut.
Is cut. That's our issue.
What's the pool at now?
10 million.
Yeah. It was 15, right? And they kept dropping
Yeah.
it.
It was over
Yeah.
20. It was
Oh,
over-
yeah, it was.
Right, but I think last
high
time you mentioned that was
20s,
15, and that was the
2
concern. It was gonna
years,
just
3
keep
years
dropping.
ago. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other business for this committee? Mayor, do you have anything? Before we adjourn, I do want to mention that our September meeting is on the 22nd and not on the 29th, because there's 5 Thursdays or Tuesdays in September. So September 22nd, make that change on your calendar.
December?
September,
Oh, September.
September 22nd.
Not on,
Yeah.
not on record.
All right, we stand adjourned.